Do you actually show your teenager you love them every day? You probably think you do, but here's what nobody tells you. Most of the ways parents try to show love to their teenagers mean almost nothing to them. In fact, some of the things you do daily, things that feel completely loving from where you're standing, might actually be pushing your teenager further away without either of you realizing it. These 7 things take less than a minute each. But once you start doing them, your teenager won't just know you love them. They'll start coming to you with the things they've been keeping to themselves. Let's start with the one most parents get completely wrong. 1. Stop talking. Start sitting. When was the last time you sat near your teenager without saying anything, not watching them, not waiting for an opening, not planning what you're going to ask, just sitting in the same room, existing? Most parents think connection requires conversation, so when their teenager isn't talking, they try to start one. They ask questions, they check in, they fill the silence, and their teenager, whose nervous system is already processing an entire day of performing for other people, quietly moves further away. Here's what most parents don't know. Teenagers don't bond through conversation the way adults do. They bond through shared presence. A 2018 study from the University of Michigan tracking adolescent attachment patterns found that teenagers reported feeling closest to parents, not during direct conversations, but during low-demand shared activities. Watching something together, being in the same room, driving somewhere in comfortable silence. What your teenager registers when you sit near them without needing anything back is not nothing. It is the specific message their nervous system has been waiting for. I am here. I don't need you to perform. I just want to be near you. In a day full of people who need things from them, that is everything. The daily habit. Once a day, sit somewhere near your teenager with no agenda. Bring your phone if you want. Watch something. Read something. Just be there. Don't initiate. Don't fill the silence. Let them feel the weight of your presence without the pressure of your expectations. What happens over time will surprise you, and if you think that one is simple, wait until we get to number 6, because that one requires nothing except stopping something you already do every day without thinking about it. 2. Let them finish. How do you respond when your teenager comes to you with a problem? Be honest. Most parents move to solutions before their teenager finishes the sentence. Not because they're not listening, because they love their teenager, and the parental instinct to fix is one of the most powerful drives in human psychology. The moment something is wrong, you want it to stop being wrong. So you redirect, you offer the answer, you explain what they should do differently, and your teenager, who came to you needing to be heard, walks away feeling managed instead. Here's what's actually happening when you do that. Researchers at the University of Rochester studying adolescent disclosure, the willingness to share personal information with a parent, found that teenagers whose parents consistently moved to solutions early showed measurably lower rates of disclosure over time. They stopped bringing things. Not all at once. Gradually. One withheld story at a time, because every time you solved before they finished, you taught them something without meaning to. Coming to you ends the conversation instead of opening it. What they need in that moment is not an engineer, it is a witness. The daily habit. The next time your teenager brings you something, count to 3 after they stop talking before you respond. Then ask one question. Do you want help figuring this out, or do you just need me to hear it? That question alone will change what they bring you. If any of this is making you see your daily moments differently, subscribe. It's how we reach more parents who want to do this better. 3. Say their name like you mean it. How do you say your teenager's name during a normal day? Not when you're frustrated, not when you need something from them, during a regular moment, when they walk into the kitchen, when they pass you in the hallway. Most parents either don't say it at all, or they say it attached to a request. Come here, can you, did you? The name becomes administrative, a flag to get their attention before they ask. But research on interpersonal communication and identity development tells a different story about what a name can carry. A 2016 study published in Brain and Cognition found that hearing one's own name activates the medial prefrontal cortex, the region of the brain associated with self-referential processing and social identity, more powerfully than almost any other auditory stimulus. Your teenager's name, spoken warmly and For no reason to something in their brain that almost nothing else can replicate, it says, I see you, not what you did, not what I need, just you. In a world where teenagers feel most of their value is conditional, either on their grades, their behavior, their compliance, hearing their name said with warmth for no functional reason is quietly one of the most powerful things a parent can do. The daily habit, once a day, say your teenager's name with nothing attached to it. When they walk past, when they sit down, when they look up, just their name, warm, present, requiring nothing back. Watch what happens to their face in the half second after you say it. That half second is the thing. 4. Notice something specific. What did you compliment your teenager about this week? Be honest. If you complimented them at all, there's a good chance it was about an outcome, their grade, their performance, something they achieved. Most parents think noticing achievement is the same as noticing their teenager. It isn't. Here's the difference. When you say good job on that test, your teenager hears you met the standard. That feels like approval, but it doesn't feel like being seen because the test is not who they are. The test is a thing they did. When you say, I noticed the way you handled that situation with your friend that took real self-awareness, something different happens. A 2014 study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that identity-based recognition, being acknowledged for who you are rather than what you produce, created significantly stronger feelings of relational security in adolescence than outcome-based praise, and was more strongly associated with the belief that the parent actually knew them. Your teenager does not need you to be impressed by their results. They need you to see who they are in the process of getting there. The daily habit, once a day, name something specific and non-outcome based that you noticed about your teenager. Not what they accomplished, who they were while they were doing it. It takes 10 seconds and it lands like nothing else you can give them. 5. Let the silence breathe. Have you ever asked your teenager a question and then jumped in to answer it yourself before they had a chance to respond? Of course you have. It feels like helping, like saving them from the discomfort of not knowing what to say. But here's what that teaches them. Your timing matters more than their response. Adolescent cognitive development research shows that teenagers process emotionally loaded questions significantly more slowly than adults. Not because they're less capable, because their prefrontal cortex is routing the question through more emotional circuitry than an adult's would, weighing more variables, considering more potential responses. When you fill the silence before they've finished processing, you're not helping them. You're signaling that their pace is a problem. A study from Stanford's Communication Research Lab found that extending conversational pauses by just 3 to 5 seconds in parent-teen interactions produced measurably more substantive responses from teenagers and significantly increased their reported feelings of being understood. 3 to 5 seconds. That's the entire intervention. The daily habit. The next time your teenager goes quiet after you ask them something, let the silence run longer than feels comfortable. Count in your head if you have to. What comes after that silence is almost always more real than what would have come before it. 6. Stop fixing their face. Can you honestly say you've never responded to your teenager's expression with something like, "Don't look at me like that," or "Fix your attitude," or "What is with your face right now?" Most parents have. It feels like the right thing to address. But here's what's actually happening when you do. You are not correcting their behavior, you are interrupting the only emotional processing mechanism they have available in that moment. Research on adolescent emotional regulation, including a landmark study published in Developmental Psychology in 2017, tracking the long-term effects of parental responses to teen emotional expression, found that teenagers who consistently had their emotional expressions corrected or suppressed showed significantly higher rates of internalized distress and significantly lower rates of emotional disclosure to parents over time. They didn't stop feeling the thing. They stopped showing it to you. And here's why that matters more than most parents realize. The expression on your teenager's face during a hard moment is not a statement about you. It is your teenager's nervous system doing visible work. When you demand it stop before it finishes, the emotion goes underground. And underground emotions in teenagers don't dissolve. They accumulate. They surface later, larger and less traceable in moments that seem completely disproportionate because the original moment was never allowed to complete. The daily habit, the next time the expression on your teenager's face bothers you, say nothing about the expression. Address whatever is underneath it instead. You look frustrated. What's actually going on will always open more than "don't look at me like that" ever will. The face is the message. Read it instead of silencing it. 7. Show up when nothing is wrong. Remember in number 1 when I said there's one thing most parents do that matters more than almost anything else? This is the deeper version of it, and it is the hardest one on this list, not because it's complicated, but because it asks something of you that busy lives make genuinely difficult. It asks you to show up for nothing. Most parents are present during crises, when something goes wrong, when grades slip, when there's a conflict that needs addressing. Suddenly you're available, fully there, asking questions, paying attention, engaged. But during the ordinary days, the fine days, the Tuesday afternoons when nothing is happening and your teenager seems okay, you're somewhere else, which makes complete sense. Life is full, and teenagers who seem fine don't require intervention. But here's what your teenager is learning during those ordinary days. Your attention means something is wrong with them. A 2019 study published in Child Development Tracking Parental Presence Patterns Across 3 Years of Adolescence found something that should change how every parent thinks about their daily life. Teenagers whose parents showed up consistently during low-stakes ordinary moments, not intensively, not with agendas, just regularly and warmly, were dramatically more likely to disclose high-stakes information during crisis periods than teenagers whose parents engaged primarily when something needed to be addressed. The trust you build on the boring days is the trust they draw on when everything falls apart. Every time you sit down next to them for no reason, every time you knock and ask if they want anything without requiring them to want anything, every time you say goodnight, even when they don't say it back, every time you show up when there's nothing to show up for, you are telling them something that no amount of crisis response can replicate. I am here because I want to be. Not because something is wrong, not because you need managing, just because you are mine and being near you is enough. To a teenager who spends most of their waking hours performing for other people, that message does not feel small. It feels like the only solid ground in the room. And when something finally breaks open, when they come out of their room at 11 o'clock and sit down next to you and start talking, you will know exactly why. Because you were already there. If this changed how you see your everyday moments with your teenager, subscribe.